Let me start from the emergency room now. I went to the emergency room, and this doctor named Dr. Curry, not Curry, but he he had a very heavy accent. I think he was like one of those Czech type races, Czechoslovakian, Slovakian, Russian, Romanian, whatever, that area. He had a very heavy accent. He was telling me what was going on with me the first day in the emergency room in VGH, in the Vancouver hospital. And when you're in that kind of a state, when don't know what's going on with your own body, when you're afraid for your life, when your family is there trying to console you and stuff, and you're listening to a doctor that you can barely understand, that's not a very comforting position. I was very distraught. And I'm not a racist thing. I like accents. And I they're kind of neat to hear. Sometimes they're annoying to try to decipher, but I'd rather be annoyed than worry for my life whether what this person's saying is important or not. So that was really jarring, and it was a really bad experience for me. Luckily, my family came in and helped me a lot and stuff too. That first night in the emergency room, I haven't said anything about it because it was horrible. People screaming and crying. This is Vancouver, after all. I wouldn't doubt there are a few people with bullet wounds, or women thrown off stair balconies. I think that was one woman next to me. I was like just wailing the whole time. It was really. They gave me this LASIK stuff, which every 20 minutes would make me pee. So I had to get up off my hospital bed. And that was back in the days when I wasn't wearing underwear. I thought it was sexy. I would just wear pants and no underwear. So I wasn't wearing underwear when they brought me into emergency. So I was given the hospital robe. And so I had to hold this hospital robe closed behind me so that my ass wasn't hanging out every time I drug my little platelet bag, because that's what they filled me with first, platelets, because I wasn't clotting, to the bathroom in the emergency room. And then I was finally moved into my own little room because they realized I had to be isolated, or else my immunity was shot from the leukemia itself. Plus, they started giving me a bit of chemo. And my grandparents came in and brought me chicken and stuff. And I can't remember if I ate any of that chicken, because I was feeling nauseous. There was a period afterwards when I ate a chicken heart, because my mom was just preparing a chicken or something like that. And I thought, hey, I've never eaten one of these before. And then I was disgusted with chicken for like almost a whole year. And chicken was my absolute favorite food. It's back now. I like chicken a lot. I have a whole box of Lee's chicken crispy recipe in the fridge right now. Well, it's only 2 pieces left. But my grandparents came in, and my parents came in, and my brother and all that. And we talked and all that. It was good to have them around and visiting, and I got moved up to the other room. And overall, the hospital experience, I think, was good. There were times when I felt like I was forgotten. I would be wheeled out, put a mask on my face because I wasn't allowed to breathe the public air, drug out to the x-ray station or the ultrasound station, because they had to take an ultrasound of my chest to see if there was anything going on in there that they had to worry about. But I would be left out in the hallway for maybe an hour or two. It felt like. Just left there. No supervision. Just outside the door. No one. The hallways were barren. There was nobody there. It didn't seem like there was anybody in the office, but that's because the doors are pretty much solid and the windows are kind of tinted. I felt forgotten, and it was just not very good. But whenever I was in my room, I was fine. And the doctors were really nice. The one doctor that did tell me, the Dr. Vinod, who I was trying to get to a point before with the curry, the guy who had a heavy accent, Dr. Vinod, a full-blown Indian. I don't know how to call them, because I say Indian, but most people still think Native American when you say Indian. But I hope that's changed. Anyway, Vinod, he had this huge last name, but his first name was Vinod, so he said, just call me Dr. Vinod. Had no accent at all. He was the one that told me, we know what your cancer is. If you want a cancer, this is the one you want. We know exactly how to get it. This is pretty much a cakewalk. So from that moment on, 3 days in, after I was crying for 3 days, I stopped crying. I was like, okay, they know what they're doing. So I'm just going to sit here and let them do what they do. I know I'm going to probably be sick a lot, and this isn't going to be the best experience in my life, but it'll make me live. So I'm fine. After that, I had no more issues, other than just being sick. I wasn't sad or depressed. I was just there. I was a willing participant. They told me that when kids have this, they try to get them to visualize their superheroes destroying the evil bacteria, because sometimes the brain does work that way. The brain does control everything in our body that happens. So if we can put our brain in a process of thinking about killing tiny bacteria that are causing trouble, or not bacteria, blood cells, white blood cells that are causing trouble, then that can help. That has been known to help a little bit. Because psychologically we can do a lot with our own bodies. We just have to figure out how to tap into that. And it takes a lot of practice, I guess. But I never really did that. But my brother drew a dragon on the whiteboard in front of me, because they would write down all this stuff like in the whiteboard to describe to me and show me what my schedule was, what the leukemia was, what was going on. It was kind of like a classroom almost, but not really. And it was kind of fun. And as fun as being strapped to a bed, I could get up. They encouraged me to do exercise because, like I said, the steroids and the chemo would probably just take my body and make me completely weak, which it did. I could barely walk when I got out of there. I didn't do the exercise as much as I should have. But I was feeling sick, so I was feeling like, me exercise? What do I'm not doing anything. I'm the one who's sick here. I know it's a really stupid attitude, but when you're sick, you feel like, and I don't know, you just want to be taken care of. I'm not one of those guys who get sick and like, I'm sick, take care of me. I'm usually I take care of myself, I'm fine, but when I got my own body trying to kill me, I guess I think I deserve a little special treatment. During that time, anyway. So, I don't even know what point I was getting to. So I really loved this Dr. Vinod guy, because he told me exactly that everything was going to be fine. I stopped feeling depressed. I stopped writing sad letters to my girlfriend. I didn't cry. I just allowed everything to happen as it happened. There was one time a preacher, a pastor, Pablo, whatever you call those guys, a hospital religious guy, came in and asked me kindly if I needed any spiritual help, or if I needed any spiritual guidance, or any of that sort of thing. I respectfully said, no, I'm not someone who believes in anything like that. So, and he was respectful in that too. He didn't try to push me in any way. We just had a nice little human discussion about being sick and, family, he was just being a nice guy. And I really appreciated that. That coming from a religious leader, a priest, which is super rare. They didn't try to push their shit on me. And that I appreciate very much. He probably ended the conversation with saying God bless or something like that, but I understand. That's just the way that you talk. You can say that. I did not take that as any sort of dig against me for not believing. There's no point to be offended by people who say God bless or I'll pray for you. It's stupid. You can think that it's stupid to say that, but don't tell them it's stupid unless they're being stupid about it. Unless they're actually trying to dig into you with a little bit of a knife blade of believe. But no, if they're just being polite, let them be polite. People deserve to be happy. They don't need to have their religion torn down in front of them all the time, in all moments of their life. Eventually, hopefully, they'll find it. Usually they won't. But sometimes we do. But that's also another rant for a different video. But yeah, so the pastor came in. He was a nice guy. He didn't push anything on me. He just asked if I needed help. I said no. And we just talked a little bit. And then he left and was like, just a nice guy. And my brother, my family brought in my heart-to-heart teddy bear. I don't know if anyone remembers the heart-to-heart bears. They had a built-in heart, this giant heart thing that had a push pad, and it would vibrate to a heartbeat when the pad was pushed, so that when you hugged the bear, it would beat. That was long gone by this time. But he brought it in because Heart-to-Heart Bear was with me when I broke my arm. If you can see that scar here. You can't really. Sort of can see a little white line there, a little bumpiness in the shadow. That's where they had to cut my arm open to clean it out because I'd broken skin. One of my bones had poked through. Which is another topic. Heart-to-Heart was there in the hospital when I got my cast and when I was there for 3 days for observation while I had my arm broken. So Heart-to-Heart Bear was there for me through my leukemia too. And my brother's into pagan Wiccan type stuff, and he put some crystals around its neck and stuff as protection and healing and all that stuff. I understand that makes him feel good, and it made me feel good because it was him caring about me. I understand they have no actual power in this universe, but they make people feel good in a mental sort of way. And if it makes you feel good in a mental sort of way, if you understand that it's a mental feeling good, then use it, take advantage of it, feel good about it. You know it's not real, but someone cared enough to try. That was the approach I took to that, and it was beautiful. I really appreciated that he would go through that. Like, during that time, I hadn't really seen my brother a lot. He was always out of the house, going to Vancouver with his friends, hanging out with his friends, going to other places. He was always out of the house, and I never really got to see him very much during that time. And plus, I was always hanging out with my girlfriend. Before I was sick. And just to know that my brother still cared and loved me that much, and it really meant a lot, because we were close when we were kids. We would always just sit around in the basement drawing and talking and making stories and creating characters for each other, for our stories that we'd make, and play video games and watch movies and all that stuff. And we were tight as brothers. We fought like cats and dogs still, but we were still really tight, and we love each other so much. I love you, Mike. But yeah, I appreciated him doing that for me. It really warmed my heart to know that he still cared, because he was going through a lot of stuff too. He could be very angry and very distant. But to know that he still loved me enough to do that for me, I really appreciated that. My friends came in one day, and all took a picture. I'll try to post the picture right here.
Got no checkbooks, got no banks. Still I like to express my thanks. I've got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. And with the sun in the morning and the moon in the evening, I'm alright.
My friends came in, and they all just wanted to see me and wanted to say hi and took a picture and stuff. I really appreciated that too. They didn't really see me anytime after that, but it was really nice to know that they were there. And I'm still sort of friends with most of them too. I still actually at least have a little bit of contact. My girlfriend would come in and visit every once in a while. Would sleep over every few nights, and just to keep me company. And we'd watch TV. We watched this John Lennon and His Murderer documentary that was on. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because I never really knew much about John Lennon or the Beatles. I never really cared. The Beatles were the Beatles. They exist. They make music. Their music doesn't really touch me very much, other than the song Help, which was in the episode of Full House when Uncle Jesse broke both of his arms. And I don't know, I just fell in love with the song at that point. But yeah, so it was quite interesting learning the background of John Lennon's murder, how insane and crazy he was. And they fed me well in that hospital room when I had to stay in there that week.